So OpenAI has just abandoned yet another side quest, or yeah, side quest is the best way to talk about it. And this time it is erotic mode. So anyone who knows Grok knows that Grok was a little freaky in terms of the generations, both images and videos that it makes. Also because it was less censored, a lot of the graphic ended up being, adult content. And so ChatGPT, on its ever ending wave of like compete with everyone, has floated the idea of tackling that same sector because that seems to be where Grok has differentiated itself. Video generation at extreme speeds with extreme variation at extreme mass, producing video content as well as image content. ChatGPT doesn't do that. But what's so interesting is that not only has it is the business aspects of like what business decisions go behind that, because they've not only just taken away erotic mode, but they also are getting rid of Sora, the app, which was like a big release and like some people were into it. It was just like a TikTok made from like AI slop, which apparently no one wanted. And then also they took down instant checkout. So here they took down instant checkout. Now, from a business standpoint, it's funny to see these moves play out because it's kind of they function like a startup despite being a multi-billion-dollar company that's changed the world and history and everyone's productivity, because they're trying so many different things to see what sticks, and like not everything is sticking. Like a lot of things that they're trying is like not working out, but that's part of innovation, and part of doubling down on what works is you got to try a bunch of things to see what does work. And so just some key takeaways I got away from doing this and like looking at their decisions to deprioritize so many different things that they've tried. I think it's so interesting that despite being a multi-billion dollar, history record making company, that they still operate exactly like a startup does. So looking at my own rules for running a successful SaaS company, just from experience, trial and error, these are just my own rules that I wrote down so that I know what decisions lead to the best outcome. This is available on my website, by the way, demilocourses.com. So check it out. It's a freebie, so it's there for free. So just feel free to download it. But yeah, what I noticed is that they respond to demand, right? So at first, they tried Sora, and Sora was not getting users, was not getting, showing demand signals. So they're just like, all right, let's cut it. Don't try to force anything. Follow the road to riches, like along those same lines. Like they were trying to try instant checkout, which is like people shopping within the chatbot, but like it turns out people just didn't want to do that and they didn't enjoy the experience, and it just like wasn't something that was catching on. So instead of trying to force that and make that happen, they decided to follow the road to riches and focus on the things that do work. So they've improved heavily upon their ability to code, right? So that's something that has shown like great promise and that people are using. They stayed away from hype cycles, so they're looking at retention and daily usage. So those are what are telling you what a successful product will be. So again, daily usage, retention, no one was using Sora, so they got rid of it. I think what's different for this one is like the erotic AI stuff, I'm sure gets a lot of attention or gets a lot of use just because that's one of the biggest categories of the internet that gets the most attention. However, they're deciding to protect their reputation by staying away from that. But they are open to like exploring it. So it's just something that's very interesting. I don't think that they need to, just given how much money they make. But like if you're a solopreneur or solo entrepreneur, like that could be something that you could explore, because the big guys aren't in that area and they're not willing to be in that area. And as long as you keep everything legal, you should be able to detect riches or get lucrative, like money out of that like industry. And then lastly, be entirely focused on mitigating the downside risk. So they did an experiment and then chopped it off as soon as it was showing signs that it wasn't working. They didn't like put more and more and more and more billions of dollars into it. And I think that this is what's so interesting is if you check out another video that I will link to right here, you see that Meta shut down their own metaverse. And that just shows you that they put billions and billions of dollars of investment into that just for them to decide, hey, we got to shut it down, mostly because they were not listening to these rules and they were not responding to demand, and they tried to force something that just like wasn't happening, and they tried to force something that wasn't getting daily usage and wasn't looking at retention. So just two examples now of why these rules are so great. So like I said, if this is something that you're interested in just downloading for free, go to demilowcourses.com and it would be one of the freebies under freebies. Okay, with that, I will catch you guys on the next video. Bye.